Hi, welcome back. Okay, now we're going to take a minute and look at solving quadratic equations using the square root method. You know this would be a good problem to use the square root method because this one is missing the middle term. If you look right here, you go from the x squared to the plus 5. So a good candidate for this. All right, now when using the square root method, you have to do everything to the problem to get that x squared by itself. Okay, so obviously I'm going to start by moving that 5 to the other side. Okay, so 4x squared is going to equal negative 5. Okay, so again, if you're looking at this, you'll see, I don't have that x squared by itself. I have to stop and I have to divide everything by 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 4 in this one. All right, so now I do have that x squared by itself, and it's equal to negative 5/4. Okay, so now the best thing, or the only method of, or way of getting rid of that x squared is to do the square root. By doing the square root is almost like the opposite operation of a square. Okay, so I'm going to square root both sides in this problem. Okay, so I have x equal to that plus minus square root of negative 5/4. Okay, now, you know how I am. I don't like to ever see a negative sign underneath that radical sign, so I always take it and break it into 2. So x equals plus minus square root of 5/4, and then that negative 1 is all by itself. And we know that negative 1 is going to create that I for us. Okay, now this square root of the negative 5/4 that you see here can be reduced. Okay, you can take the square root of that top and bottom, okay? So that top won't break down, but that bottom can be a regular old 2. Okay, so I would simplify this problem by that square root of I that you're seeing over here, or square root of 1, negative 1. Ooh, hard time today. Square root of negative 1 is actually equal to an I. So I'm going to pull that out. So I'm going to have that plus minus with my I. The square root of 5 cannot break down, but that 4 on the bottom can be a 2. Okay, and that's as far as we can go with this. All right, looks kind of funky for an answer, but that's the extent of it. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next video. All right, on this problem, again, we have to get that square, even though it's a quantity of x minus 3, we have to get that by itself. So we're going to take that 16 and we're going to move it over. So it's going to be x minus 3 squared equals negative 16. Okay, now we're going to take the square root of both sides. Okay, all right, so square root of this side and the square root of that side. So that x minus 3 is no longer underneath the radical sign, and I can drop the parentheses. Now it's equal to a plus minus square root of 16, and I always write that square root of negative 1. Okay, square root of 16 we know is a 4, so plus minus 4, but the square root of negative 1 is an I. Okay? Bringing down the rest of my problem, and now I take that 3 and I bring it over to the other side. So on this, x equals 3 plus minus 4i. And that is the end of this problem. Hope this helps when you do your homework. Good night.